Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how you can easily set up a simple HTML web page using basic CSS syntax. Now to get started, let's go into our text editor and take off this current page that I have. So let's start all over. Okay, to start, save your project as a new file in your desktop area. You can call it HTML or simple HTML layout. Okay, give it an index.html extension. Now let's get started. The title, simple HTML layout. Okay, to start with, we'll be using div. I love to use div a lot. Div give me more power to control a web page. I believe div solve a problem in development. So we'll be using div to generate our web page from the front end. Now to save this project now, I run it in my browser to check if it's actually active. So I'll go into the code, I run it in my browser. Now this is it. I have the title already, but currently I haven't add any content to the body. So let's start by adding content to our body. Okay, to get started, so we use a div with a class of container. Don't forget, we are developing a simple HTML layout using CSS and HTML. Okay, just div having a class of container. Now inside the container, we have another div called class header. Now this header is what we undo our hello world. The hello word we saw in the preview. So we save it, we refresh the page, and we have this. Okay, to continue, move on to the next class. Okay, div having a class of content. Now this is the content body where we have our navigation link and our home page content. Sorry. Okay, now here to apply that, we are going to create a new div container called content. Now inside this content, we have two div. The first div will go for the navigation link, while the second div will go for the content, which is the main. Okay, now let's start. So div having a class of nav and an h2 element having a value of navigation link. Then we have on ordered list, then list item, and our anchor tag having nowhere to go, which is hash. Okay, now if we save this now and refresh, we have the h2, but our headline has nothing. So let's include something to our headline with the valid anchor tag. So the first one will be home page. Save. Okay, we have the home page is ready. Okay, we can clone the li, paste it. Then we have home page, about, dot, and contact. About then contact. Currently we are still working with the HTML. We haven't moved into the CSS, but in the meantime we'll get to the CSS. Okay, I'm done with the navigation link. Now the next thing I'm going to enter into now is the main content. Okay, main. So I have a class of main. Inside my main, we have the introduction, which is inside the h2. Sorry. So we have the home page here having having three content. of P. So that's the first content. Now the second content here, and the third content here. Sorry, third content with the P. So we have the first, second, and third content inside our main class, which is our main class here. Okay, the next div we are going to write now is the div footer. Don't worry, I'm going to explain everything one after the other. Div footer, then class of footer. Now in our footer we have a p tag, then copyright C 2020, then your name. Okay, that's it. Refresh. We have this. Okay, now currently we have our HTML page being set without any styles or anything. It's just a pure HTML. Now to check the code again and go through it. Here I started with a class of container. Now inside my class container I have another div called class of header. Now this header is what we have here, which is the hello world. This is the header. Okay, let's move on. Now here we have the class of content. This class of content carries everything within the navigation class and also the main class. Now here is the navigation line, navigation div. Now this is it. This nav class represents this, so try to get it very well. Represent this, and our main class here, which is the home page and the 3 paragraph, represent this, which is the main class. Don't get it twisted. If you did not understand, you can also comment, but let's continue. Okay, now this is our main class, and the next thing we are going to do now is, okay, now our footer starts from here and also ends here. Our footer ends here. Okay, to continue with this, you will have to open a new tab and create our CSS, then link it and link up the CSS with the HTML. Okay, Control New, which is Control N that I use here. You can also use a file type here as new file. So Control N what I use. Okay, new file. Then you save your file. You save it inside a new folder called CSS. Inside the CSS, you enter into the CSS folder. Then you give it a name and give it a title. A title here. Any title you wish, but I love to use style.css. Then you save that. You save your style. Then go back to your HTML code and to link the current styling you did just now. Now here I'm to link my HTML. I'm to link my CSS into my HTML file. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is target the folder at which my CSS is. As you can see, there's a folder here, and this is the folder. Sorry, this is the folder. Why this is the main file? To check it from the main source of the file, you can see this is the folder. Why is this file? So I will enter into this file. I will call this this directory CSS folder, and also capture this file we have here. That I want to do now in my HTML file. So to call it, I have to write the folder directory into the href, then the main file name style.css. Then I save that. I go back to my browser, refresh. Now there's nothing has happened yet. Okay, now let's go into our CSS and start targeting our div. To start with, let's first of all change the font family of the body, entire body. Okay, font family. So font family of Calibre. You can use any font, but I love to use Calibre a lot. Calibre solve a lot of my problem. Okay, now here we have Calibre. Okay, after the Calibre has been set, we move to the class section. Here we have class of container. Now this container, I want container to start from this portion and end at this portion. So which is, I don't want all my document on a web page to override the entire body of the web page. So I want it to be more cool, to have a particular weight to run with within the web page. So that's what I want to do now. So now let's dive into it. So we target the container. So dot container, enter into the container, and we target our margin. So using the margin to automatically set how to automatically set the rate at which the width is going to be handled. So margin right and margin left. So using this, we automatically set the width. We automatically give the width access or give it more power to control the page. Okay, we'll give it a weight of 70%. 70%. As you can see, it actually changed, but 70% is too small. That's too small for me to use. So let me use 80%. Okay, 80% is more better. Now the next thing we're going to do now is to target our content, our class content. Now dot content. Inside my content, I'm going to give my content an 100% of 80%. Now what I'm doing now is giving this content an 100% width of this 80%. So over here is going to be 100% of out of 80%. Now inside this 100% is where we will share the nav and the main. Okay, now let's continue. So if you refresh the web page, it's still the same. Now we go into the header. So dot header, we assign the text to center. Now it's centralized. Padding, give it 20 pixel. Okay, it's 20 pixel. Now background color, which is red. Let's check it out. Okay, background color is red. Then the main color should be white. Yeah, white will be more cool using it. Okay. Now here I set my padding to 20 pixel. Text alignment, I centralize it. I give it a background color of red and a color of white. Yeah, as you can see, it's cool, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is our nav. Okay, here we have our class of nav, and also class of main inside content class. Now here I set content to be 100% width. Now it's not time for us to divide this 100% into different patterns for the nav class and also the main class. Now to start with, I'll first of all target the nav class. Here is the nav class. As you can see, this navigation link is the nav class. The nav class begins from here to this place. Now if I have to check it using the inspect element of the browser to check the width at which the nav is taken, by default it's 100%. So we are going to be sharing it. Now let's check it out. As you can see, I'm coming. Sorry. Okay, let me target it now. Now this is the nav. The nav is automatically taking 100% of the web page. So what we do now is give it a 30% of the 100% of the main content, because the content here is the parent, while the nav is the is the child of the parent, where it inherits the CSS from. So we are going to give a particular width to the child for a proper web layout. Okay, let's continue. Let's close this. We don't need that for now. So the next we are going to do is give it a width of 30%. Then I save that. I refresh the web page. It's still the same thing. Okay, after giving it a width of 30%, then I float it to the right. I float to the left. It has to be at the left. Then I got this. Can you see the width have actually changed? Okay, now here is 30% of width, and here is still 100% of width. That is everything inside the main class is still actually 100%. So what we do now is also give this main class we're giving this main class and its own weight, which is the 60%. So we give it its own class. So dot main should float to the right and having a width of 70%. So let's divide it. So that makes it 100. So 70 plus 30, that's 100 of content. Now this content, which is 100, is 100 of 80%. The general width for the web pages is for the web page is 80%. Now we generate 100% out of this 80%. Now inside this content is where we have our nav and main. Then we divide the 100% of the content into 30 and 70. I hope you understand me, please. Okay, if you don't understand, you can also comment, then I will actually fix it for you. Okay, then after saving your code, you go to the front page. That means your that is your browser. Refresh, you discover the changes have been made, but there is an issue with our footer. Our footer is battling with our nav class and our main class. So what to do to solve the issue is target the footer. So we roll on to the footer and give it a property of clear and a value of both. Then we refresh that, you discover everything has been fixed. Okay, now after it's been fixed, you give the padding of 10 pixel and text alignment of center, then background color of gray. I love using gray a lot. Okay, we got this, but it's not really perfect enough. Let me give it the color of white to look more cool. Okay, now we are done developing our simple HTML layout. Just a very simple pattern to use to develop a project, to do anything you would like to do. Now, okay, I hope you understand everything. Any issue you're having with over this little code we just write up, you can easily comment. I will probably help you. I will definitely help to fix it. Thanks for watching.